My name is Yann, and I have our product expert, Mark, today. Super excited that you've joined us, Mark, to talk about RDM free.
Yes, so happy to be here. Lots of stuff to unpack today. It's good to be here.
I'm really excited. So, number one, we're going to be looking at the use cases. So, is RDM free right for you and your environment? What does it mean that RDM is free? What does it include? Who is it for? Those kind of things Mark will address. And then we'll dive into maybe some of those, Mark loves the greatest hits, or the little hidden gems, right? That he wants to go into, and he'll showcase a bunch of stuff that I think will be insightful, whether you are using RDM free already, or you're just figuring it out right now, or learning how to use it, or you're interested in finding out what it can do for you. Then after that, we'll do a little bit of comparison, because some of you might have been using a free or paid other tool and say, is it really worth? How does RDM free compare? And then at the very end, we will talk about when is it time to upgrade? You may have been using RDM free, your team is growing. Well, we want to grow with you. And we have a great solution with the Enterprise Edition that might be something that you are looking forward to as well. Let's talk about who this is for and what kind of workflows does this fit. So let's look at use cases.
Yeah, so use cases are, of course, very important because this addresses directly who this product is for. And so as we see on our screen here today, we've designed Remote Desktop Manager to cover, up to, but it could certainly be beyond that, but 6 fundamental use cases, anyone involved in home lab management, so people that have, their own environments, they're testing stuff, they're learning stuff in the comfort of their homes, Remote Desktop Manager makes sense. Then you have freelancers and IT consultants. You've got as well independent individuals that just work, independent users that use the product from, again, maybe their own workplace. But they just don't use the product extensively in the team. So they use it for themselves. Cloud server access is another important point with the market changing, going towards AI, cloud, Azure, Amazon, AWS, Google Cloud as well, just to name these. But of course, all the big cloud computing players, that's where resources are going more and more. So it makes sense to have, a platform, an ecosystem that can reach these endpoints within cloud environments. So cloud server access is another use case that applies here. So if that concerns you, Remote Desktop Manager will resonate, and you'll see why later on. Secure offline sites. It makes sense for, the organizations or, again, individuals dealing with highly secured environments or isolated environments where there's no internet connectivity, or there's no way to do external network connectivity, should I say. And that would apply there as well. RDM has settings, options to make it so that you can use the app without even thinking about just using network services. It works solely well standalone within a network. And then the other one is on our PowerPoint.
Education and training.
Yeah, education and training. And that one is, it makes more and more sense here because we see a lot of teachers, we see a lot of academic institutions rely on Remote Desktop Manager, and it makes sense for these individuals because then we see a lot of Apple devices in universities and school districts and school systems. And so with the Apple Remote Desktop within Remote Desktop Manager, because that's such a protocol you can use, and we will see that, it makes sense to use that within Remote Desktop Manager, and it, again, makes sense as well for academic institutions. So that's another part that's covered here in use cases. And then the last one, mobility and field work. Remote Desktop Manager as a site of portability, so you can install it, or use it rather, I should say, on a USB key. So you can go pretty much anywhere, plug that in a USB port, and then it just works from there, connects to pretty much anything, Remote Desktop Manager can reach within your network.
Well, let me put an aside and to prove the point.
Yeah.
I worked, before this job, I worked for a private school, and I was the IT administrator. So I had to manage a bunch of computers, labs for the kids, but I was the only one. I was the one-man army, or the one Yann army. Dad
exactly.
joke there. But the idea though was I had to manage all this stuff. So where was RDM free 15 years ago? That's what I'm wondering, because I could have used something like that, but we had to piecemeal together different tools and things, the VNC for all the computers to monitor what the computers are doing, and all those things like that. Yeah. So I was a firm user of RDC Man and so forth, but then the Apples came along, and then now you have to do something else.
Yeah.
So a tool like that and this was me, RDM free could have been something very useful in that kind of environment, even in a like we'll say professional aspect, very useful for that. So okay, great. Now as well as the use cases, who can we say is like, what does it actually include? So when we say RDM free, what are we actually talking about? Is it a adware version? What does that mean?
Yeah, very good point. So there's always this sort of in the back of your mind of saying, I'm seeing something that's free. There's got to be a catch. There is no catch. Remote Desktop Manager is a powerful platform that connects to any systems that's traditional, again, RDP, SSH, as we see here, VNC, Apple Remote Desktop, web applications, and more. There's over 100 of them within the app itself, and we'll see some of the most popular one. It's very powerful, and so there's no license. Again, there's no cost for that. You can use it for as long as you wish. And you'll have all of the stuff that you will see today is part of the free edition. There is, again, no cost for that. And that's what makes Remote Desktop Manager such a powerful solution, is that we can give you a lot of productivity and efficiency from a solo user perspective without even spending a single dime. On the product itself. So that's very powerful. And again, here you see a few other elements. Credential storage, that's also part of Remote Desktop Manager. Being able to use these credentials again, sessions, we'll have inheritance, we'll have multiple ways, different types of credentials as well, things you might not even think that exist in Remote Desktop Manager free edition. We've got embedded tools, so even tooling that doesn't require a separate app install. It's all built in Remote Desktop Manager. We'll have something even more powerful in terms of productivity is the multi-window tabbing. That gives you enhanced productivity and efficiency. And then the last part, of course, is being able to do just one-click action. So I click on something, and then a process that's normally manual gets automated through the entire, all the way to the end. And I can even say, I could run a script along the way here. So that's very powerful.
Which is all stuff that Mark is going to show you today.
Yeah.
So it's actually funny. Somebody just posted, said, too good to be true. We had this conversation yesterday with Yannick, one of our teammates in product marketing. And he's like, in the IT world, I get it. We are very skeptical because we're like, it's free. What's the catch? Like, what is it? A bloated software? Are you going to pop up something like, your trial is done. Thank you for putting all your information in here. And 5 days later, you got nothing, And, it's all things that were, and I want to be honest here. It sounds too good to be true, but that is the heart of our CEO, David Hervieux. He wanted to provide something that just every IT person should have, and something that can do something powerful. And then if you choose to scale with us, or you choose to do more things, or you expand your IT empire, we have things that are very affordably priced to help you manage, all of your credentials and passwords without sacrificing productivity. So
that's right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great. So, besides the RDM free aspect, let's actually look into. People want to see it, right? Yeah. So let's talk about the hidden gems. What are some of the things that you have found that can be helpful in those use cases to those folks watching right now? What are the things that you wanted to share with us today, Marky?
Yeah, so Remote Desktop Manager, again, our flagship platform. It's very powerful. So let's start first for those that are watching today that are not using Remote Desktop Manager right now. Let's have a look at least the basics to start. So on our screen here, you'll see Remote Desktop Manager. We're
going to put Nicholas is going to put it up on for us right now.
Yeah,
so
perfect.
Yeah,
there we go. So Remote Desktop Manager here. This is the main interface. We'll start with the ribbon. This is where you can interact with entries and do various tasks, various actions on the entries themselves. You get the navigation pane here, which is gives you the structured list of entries. So now we have a view of folders, the sessions themselves, and every other asset that can be stored within a Remote Desktop Manager will appear here, and this is where you interact with it. And then within the dashboard, creating entries, going into properties, opening sessions, and whatnot. This is the action area, so to speak. This is where you then interact with the sessions. So here, to start with a basic, just opening sessions, what does it look like? I'll start with a Linux box. So Ubuntu 4, this is SSH. So it opens quick, fast, easy. We have various options available here, filtering, applying filtering options to see exactly what the terminal output is giving us. You want to search for something within the terminal output, you can see it from there. And just a little something to start here, just to show you how powerful Remote Desktop Manager is. You'll notice a little script here says sudo apt-get upgrade. How many times do admins do maintenance, typing updates? They have to type this all down. Well, that kind of script, you can just click on it and it executes itself automatically. So here, if I type in the password then, because I could have this whole thing automated. Now, I just showed you a sneak peek of what it can actually do, but it can go beyond that.
Don't do that to us, Mark. Don't do that to us.
No, but and I'll lose myself. I want to stay focused here, but it shows how powerful Remote Desktop Manager is, and that, again, is just the tip of the iceberg. We've got several more things to see, but this at least gives you an idea of, I have the ability to launch terminal connections. What can I actually do with them? This is one of them. There's many more to see here. I'll just move on to then the ability to launch, of course, RDP connections. SSH
before
RDP.
we get there, I wanted to specify too, like, so for folks watching, this is the free version, okay? Because I know some folks might be like, is this the paid one? Then you're going to say what's free. No, this is actually a free version. Now, curious though, I see there's a lot of entries there. We're going to talk about organization in a minute here. But where are these like stored right now? Is it like a paid service or no?
No. That's a very good point, Yann. This is locally stored on my machine.
Okay,
when you install RDM, the launching experience. There's a
little wizard.
There's a little wizard, what we call the onboarding wizard, which gives you through some steps, and deciding where the data is stored is actually one of the first steps. So for an app such as RDM, you'll get by default the ability to store that locally. We call it the local data source. It's a SQLite database file for those that are more tech savvy and know what SQLite is. That's the local storage option. But then you could have an option to store it in the cloud using our own Devolutions personal data source. That's a cloud option. Or if you prefer a private cloud option, like let's say Google or Google Drive or OneDrive from Microsoft, you'll have an option to do that as well with an XML file. But the foundation of that is that it's stored locally in a database.
Makes sense. Okay, so absolutely. Okay, I just wanted to make clear so that we know that like this isn't like, hey, we're only showing you the free portions. No, this is the actual program. Everything you see is what you would get, right?
No, that makes sense, Yann, and that was a good point here because understanding that first part in Remote Desktop Manager, that's where you can build and expand with the use of Remote Desktop Manager because you understand where your data is. And afterwards you can say, well, what other options could Remote Desktop Manager offer me? Because of course, the local storage, or at least I should say the data storage, deals a lot with security. So Remote Desktop Manager offers a lot of security options, and it goes without saying here, and it's important that we say it, Remote Desktop Manager uses industry standard encryption, and I would say even above it. That's important because we don't want to be the next LastPass, right? We don't want to be in the news. So we invest a lot in security. So development is all hands on deck behind this, and a culmination of all the years of development Remote Desktop Manager has speaks volumes in terms of what it has to offer in terms of security.
Excellent. Well, okay, I interrupted you're right in the middle of showing some other sessions. So let's take a look at those sessions and see how the credentials are put into there and everything, and all the things you wanted to show there.
So we saw our SSH. Now we can have a look at RDP. Same principle. It opens in the embedded display mode. That's what we call it, embedded display mode. It opens in the tabbed interface, and people will see that credentials are being sent over, and it's automatic. I don't have to type in anything. I don't have to copy anything.
Yeah.
And of course, very important, I don't have to remember anything.
Yeah,
I don't have to remember host names, passwords. It just gets in. It gets injected. And that's one of the very basic functions of Remote Desktop Manager, but it's probably one of its most powerful, because that's one of the struggles that we see from people. They have to they have to remember information, or they have to do copy pasting. That's time consuming. Remote Desktop Manager, it's direct. We just send credentials over. And that's for RDP SSH, but then I could go and add a little bit more complexity here. We have Linux boxes that can go through a tunnel. And going back to what I mentioned earlier, which is one-click actions. That's one of those one-click actions. I can just click on open session, and you see on my screen here, I have the tunnel opening first, and then I get to my Linux box. It happens all automatically. It's just one click, and then it just works. And that's the idea of RDM as well. It just works. You don't have to think about, doing these manually. It just works within the app. It's just a breeze. You're one click away from getting to where you need to be.
And this not only applies to just like we saw there's an SSH tunnel, but you could pass through a VPN, right? And so if you're launching, you're securing your own network, a segmented network. Let's say you want to open up a VPN first. Well, you don't have to open the VPN outside and then open your sessions individually. You can have it all automated.
Well, actually, I have an example here.
Oh, you do? Well, that's great.
This one is actually, and now not for people to be confused, this is a simulated VPN launch. So when I click on open session here, you see this is the client that we've designed to show you that I can, just like SSH tunneling, I can launch a VPN first. It's installed on my machine. I send credentials over, it's established, and then the session opens. And then we see here that we're connected through VPN to that external endpoint. So again, another process of one-click action. I just click on the button, and then I am where I need to be. And when we close the session, we can also have a mechanism that says, well, close the VPN, because I don't need it anymore. So you don't even have to think about closing the VPN. How amazing is that?
And those are options. Now, you're mentioning a lot of options, like where do you put the VPN? Where do you put those credentials? Can you show us a little bit where that is done?
So in the properties of a session here, and that's SSH specific, but it applies to all session types because these are general settings. These are the properties right now that we're seeing of a session. So within it, that's where we configure all of the back-end stuff that makes it all work nicely, automatically. I don't have, again, to copy anything or remember anything. It all happens here. And then under the connection category here, a connection section, VPN tunnel gateway, this is where I configure the VPN. So I can have it inherited. For example, it could be at a folder level. I'd say, well, I have a VPN. I have multiple sessions within it that need to use that same VPN. I don't have to configure the VPN per session. I can just use the power of inheritance, put that at a folder level, and then all the sessions will use these VPN settings, and they just launch automatically afterwards. It just works. That's the power of Remote Desktop Manager.
That's really cool. So notice also when you open up that RDP or SSH, the context of the screen changes depending on the properties of each session type.
That's right.
And as you go in and discover it for yourself, remember, download this. It's absolutely free. There's no reason why you don't do this, but you'll go in and you'll say, there are a lot of options, like a lot of customizations, and it can be overwhelming, but we understand environments are different, infrastructures are different. Your preferences are different. Like how you like your SSH color to show up. We can customize that. Well, actually, you can customize that yourself. So they try to offer, our developers work hard, and our product managers work hard to try to give things that help you get your job done faster and more efficiently and remain productive without having to remember passwords and all the other stuff that we're not designed to remember,
I like to say here, Remote Desktop Manager reignites passion for those that work in IT, because we know that IT brings in a lot of chaos, especially these days with everything expanding exponentially. A lot of stuff gets added, and I see that a lot with conversations that we have with existing customers, people learning about us for the first time. They come to us and say, how can you help me, bring back to a time where stuff was, easier. It wasn't that easier back in the day, but at the same time, there was the sense of I was productive because there wasn't that much.
Sure.
But imagine if I had RDM back in the day. Now I have it today. How can it help me at least get to a place where it really is amazing to work with all of these systems? So that's what RDM is designed to do. And there's a little something for everyone in a multi-step manager. And that's important to understand because, as you said, Yann, there is a lot of stuff in RDM. It can be overwhelming. But the nice thing about our product as well is that it's modular. So there's some menus, there's some elements you'll be able to remove in our file settings options. From there, you just say, well, I don't need this. I don't need that. That's noise for me. Let's remove the noise and focus on the signal.
Do you want to, that's exactly it. That's a good point. Do you want to show the file option menu there real quick, just so folks know what you're talking about?
File settings. This is people will notice that it almost looks similar to Microsoft's Office suite of products.
Sure.
It is based, some portion of it, on the Microsoft Office look and feel.
So it's familiar,
it looks familiar. And here, as you see, context menu is one of them. So now, do I want all of these options in the context menu? When I do a right click, do I want to see all of these options? I can disable it from there.
Sure.
That's one of the options. I just remove these, and then it reduces the noise, makes it easier on the eyes, that sort of thing.
Okay. So, and this is a great place where you could customize how you want it to act based off of your environment and the way you want it to present the information. A lot of details, a lot of stuff you can do. Now, with customizations, I know one of the things you wanted to talk about was powerful integrations. So what are some of the things that you can show us here that might pique somebody's interest or showcase? Like we don't invent the wheel, or we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just trying to take all the tools you currently use, put it one place and work with them together. That's right. So that's what our integrations do. And we have quite a few of them. So
we have quite a few of them. And again, to reiterate here, it's over 100. Over 100, but they're all very powerful. And so in Remote Desktop Manager, there is the possibility to use tools like Active Directory. And what I mean by Active Directory, I mean the MMC console from your domain controller. So what we've designed here, and this is one example, and you might have seen quickly here, it was a little bit sneaky, but I wrote down here in the search bar, this is our search bar, and from here you can look for sessions that you want to launch. But there's even an even more powerful shortcut for this, which with Control and Space Bar, you can launch the quick search option, which does something even more powerful in terms of finding entries within a Remote Desktop Manager. So if I type here, AD console, then I get this available to me. And from here, I can launch the session itself. I don't even have to look for it. I don't even have to then select the option. It's directly in the interface. I can click on open, and it opens automatically for me within the interface. And so what you're seeing on your screen right now, this is one of our powerful integrations, Active Directory dashboard. So here you have almost everything from your domain controller's built-in console. You can manage users, manage groups, user memberships within these groups, manage servers and computers. You can create new users, new groups here, new computers as well. This is one such example with the interface here. You can also manage BitLocker encryption keys for the devices within Remote Desktop Manager, and you also have access to changing user properties within the interface. So that's all part, again, of the experience with the Remote Desktop Manager. Everything is covered within the app when it comes to Active Directory. Oops, did we get a shutdown on the on the server. Let's.
Well, while you reboot that, there's
Yeah.
there's Adam Listek. He's inside the chat right now. And he's explaining.
Yeah.
So some folks say, "Hey, sometimes I'm looking for an integration, I don't find it."
Yeah.
And a lot of times you can go to the add-on section and the tools because we don't list all of them, and we'll show you the add button later on here in a second when it loads back up. But you can hit plus, and then you can see all the different things. But sometimes if you don't see something,
Yeah.
it could be an external thing that you have to add separately. But besides those integrations, I mean, we can't show them all because there's so many. But Active Directory dashboard.
Active Directory.
What are the other things that we have here? We have
VMware.
Okay, VMware.
VMware is something very powerful.
Yep.
Or as an alternative as well, we have Proxmox.
Okay.
We'll see the two here.
Okay.
But when it comes to VMware, the VMware dashboard that we've designed here is very similar to that of the AD console. We give you day-to-day functions within it. So here are a few of the machines we have on our vCenter. You can power on machines, power off, shut down, suspend, restart the guest machine as well. Connect using VMRC or with what we call synchronizers. Create sessions to these systems automatically. You don't have to add them manually. You'll be able to use the synchronizer entry type, and we will create these entries automatically for you within RDM.
So another way directly.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And with whatever protocol you need, because we can use what we call templates as well in Remote Desktop Manager, and you can launch connections with different protocols using templates against these sessions. Also something very powerful part of Remote Desktop Manager within the interface. So local vCenter, that's one. We also have a dashboard for Entra ID. Now, for some of you that may be managing Microsoft 365 admin portal functions, with the Entra ID dashboard, what we did is to focus, like the AD console, on the most powerful and useful functions to start with. So managing users, managing groups, managing licenses. You can go into the properties of users here, change some of the properties as you see here, contact information settings and whatnot. Disabling accounts, you can do so from here. Revoking sessions, very important here. You can just invalidate user tokens, so they have to re-authenticate themselves using single sign-on. That's the option that would take care of that. And as another technology, again, because I mentioned Proxmox, we also have that within Remote Desktop Manager. You can manage your clusters and instances within Proxmox here, so we can start them. We have the logs available to you here down within. And I just want to add, Proxmox is a new addition.
Yeah.
So this is subject to change. We'll add more functions as we go along. But right now, you could go directly in the console. The machines are stopped here. So I'm not going to start them because some of them are just examples that we made. So these are not actual systems that are fully operational. But if you use Proxmox within your environment, you can use that within Remote Desktop Manager. And again, as you said, Yann, there's just so many technologies
Can you
that
show
exist.
us the add button and to show a little bit of what we're talking about? Might be interested for maybe our European folks and our American folks as well.
Very powerful here. And when we have just a quick example, let me just to try to expand the window here so we see them all. So we have, because again, there's over 100 different of them in the app. So here we have the general ones. So we covered in the beginning, RDP, SSH. I didn't even show Apple Remote Desktop. I'll show that as well. But we've got VNC. Very similar again to RDP. It launches embedded, but we could use the external display mode and have a different experience. Then we've got File Explorers, SFTP, SCP, TFTP, SMB, WebDAV. These are embedded within the app. So you don't need a separate client. Very, very important. People don't need to install FileZilla. Although you could use FileZilla with RDM, it's built in within the app. You don't have to worry about this. You have other remote connection tools here. We've got some that are remote desktop solutions like Rust Desk. We've got a Splashtop, TeamViewer, of course, AnyDesk, and so many more. Dell iDRAC, HP ILO, that's part of it. MikroTik Winbox. I hear this is very popular in Europe. So if some of you are using MikroTik Winbox, you'll be able to use that within a Remote Desktop Manager to ease the use of the app. You'll have something, again, one single pane of glass, one-stop shop to managing all of these great technologies. And then we can expand here and say ServiceNow. For those that use ServiceNow, we have the use again for VMRC. I know I mentioned this, but you can still use VMRC standalone. You could use MySQL Workbench, SAP stuff, IBM stuff. So IBM Personal Communications, IBM iAccess for those that use these advanced technologies. And then we have the terminals here, IBM 5250, serial port TN3270. These are older technologies. It's important to understand that Remote Desktop Manager is bleeding edge of innovation, but it also keeps a foot in the realm of legacy technologies. So we could go all the way back to stuff that's in the 1990s. Of course, we understand that these technologies are still relevant, so they still need to be used, and Remote Desktop Manager offers you something to connect to these systems.
One of the ones I know that we were excited about recently, and even Adam just mentioned it, was the SQL Server console. You want to show that? That's a pretty cool one as well.
That's a very powerful one because a SQL Server is basically one of the more powerful technologies that exist out there, especially for database analysts or administrators. They'll most likely use SSMS a lot, I would say. And they would need to install SSMS. With Remote Desktop Manager now, what we've done is that we've circumvented the need to install SSMS on your device.
Really cool.
So as you saw, we launched the SQL Server Management Dashboard. It was quick. Credentials were injected. And the nice thing additionally here is that it works on all the major platforms. And that's something we didn't mention. But Remote Desktop Manager runs today, as you see, on Windows, but it's available on macOS. It's available on Linux. iOS, Android, all platforms, all form factors are supported here. Even Windows with ARM processors, Remote Desktop Manager will run there, and you can use the SQL Server dashboard. You don't have to install SSMS anymore. Use Remote Desktop Manager as your de facto app for managing SQL databases.
Yeah, really, really cool. There's a lot of things that we can do. And Adam's mentioning right now that, feature parity, we're doing our best, but, there's limitations a lot of times. Like I use a Mac exclusive because I'm the video guy, but I love the fact that I can launch RDM and get over 90% of all the same stuff, and in the free version and in the paid, right? But
I want to add here, because this is important. We've, about a year ago, a little over a year ago, we started an initiative, and David, our CEO, wrote a blog on this, where we are evolving the foundations of Remote Desktop Manager. We're moving to what's called Avalonia. And Avalonia is basically a third-party framework that is similar to Microsoft's MAUI, for those that are familiar with this framework, that allows for cross-platform building of elements of the interface. So the SQL Server Management Dashboard is one of these Avalonia-based interfaces. So what you see here on Windows, you'll pretty much get the same things, or I would say close to it if it's not the case, but I'm pretty sure it's the same interface on Mac and on Linux. Having tried it myself, it's the same thing for these other platforms. So this is an example of feature parity option that's available on all platforms.
That's awesome. Now, I know earlier we did the add button. Could you just go back there real quick? Because we talked about a few things that we don't need to go through all of them, but we also want to show you that it's not just connection management. There, look on the left-hand tab there, you could see you can manage your credentials, all sorts of information. So what kind of stuff would be helpful for IT folks, do you think, that they wouldn't want to know?
A few last things here, because we didn't show them, but we could here. The Hyper-V dashboard, there's an option for Hyper-V. There is an option for Windows Admin Center, Splunk, and then AWS as well for those that use that. So that's to complete here the many additional technologies that we have. But then I mentioned earlier as well credential management, and that's where some of the even additional powerful options exist in Remote Desktop Manager, and that's the ability to store credentials. So we can do vanilla, standard, and very popular just username and passwords. We can store one-time passwords as well. We can store certificates. We can store SSH keys, private public keys, and then we could do password lists, API keys as well. The sky's the limit with Remote Desktop Manager. And even with the custom credential here, because this is interesting, it allows you to do pretty much anything because it's scripting behind it. So you could do a PowerShell script that, for example, could call laps.
Yeah.
You could do that with the free edition. And so that type of entry, it just makes things so powerful because in addition to the use of credentials, again, going back to what is possible in terms of usage, we can do inheritance. So I could say at the folder level, I could put in credentials within it and then say to my sessions, inherit folder credentials, and then it applies to all of these sessions all at once. So we can store credentials here and then use inheritance as a very powerful way to have one set of credentials for all of the sessions that need that same set.
Now, along with all this, now you notice how he's got like a hierarchy, like a folder structure on the left.
Yeah.
Having all these tools is great, but what do we do to offer to help organizations? Like, what are some things that you like to do, and like the tools that we offer to get things, to find things quickly, especially?
Yeah. So with all the sessions that we have opened here, I will just simply restart them to show something that is very, very powerful visually because it will make sense when people will see it. But we have, coloring options for the entries themselves. We have tags that we can add. We can add descriptions within these entries. So going back to one of my Linux box, and I can say this is Ubuntu, 20.04. And this is just a simple description that I'm adding here. I can add the tags in this section as well. And this will be useful when I'm actually, searching for these sessions, because I can search by tag, I can search by description, and I can add different tags here. For example, I could say SQL. I could add this one and add it to the list and then apply it to that entry within a Remote Desktop Manager. So now I can find using the SQL term in the search, and it will return that entry directly in the search as well. And then in the user interface, this is where I can add colors to my tabs. So here I will select one color for this one. I will launch it, and now it appears in the blue color. I can then have another one and say, this, I'm going to add that color for that for that one specifically. So let's say red here. So now, saving these, I can click on Open Session, and then I have two different tabs with two different colors. And very powerful, I can untab them and put them side by side and being able to just see them all at once. And something else even more powerful here, because I like the element of surprise, it's adding this to a broadcast. So cool. I can say, for that session, I want to broadcast the same thing that I am typing. So I'm going to say sudo apt-get update. And I'm typing the same thing on both terminals here. And it's the same password for both. So how powerful is that?
You're
typing exactly
the RDM
the same
magician,
thing.
Mark.
RDM magician. And again, this really is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more. And I wish we had 5 hours to just show everything, but time is flying here and I talk too much, Yann.
You're doing great, Mark.
I really, it's just so powerful. It's the most powerful thing you'll ever see. And even on top of this, because scripting is also something very powerful here, because we saw a lot of elements that deal with that deal with productivity. And to close that arc, you can do documentation. You can add documentation, links, images, and whatnot using Markdown or WYSIWYG. Those are two formats available to you here. You can add attachments, could be HTML5 images, anything you can think of. You can add all of these.
And you can add these on entry level and on folders as well, right?
Folders as well.
That's great. So,
and I want to also add something very important here. There is no limits on the number of entries, number of open sessions, number of attachments, no limits on this. Yeah. Absolutely none. Because of course, it's all in the spirit of Remote Desktop Manager free being completely free.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great. So organization tools, you were mentioning scripting as well. Yeah. I know there's a script dashboard. You want to show that?
Script dashboard. That's one of the most powerful additions that we made in recent years in Remote Desktop Manager. That's the script dashboard. We see from within the interface here, scripts that we can create, but also scripts that come from our script library on GitHub. So a few of them that we've created that you can use to execute against sessions. But for the ones that we've created today, an example here, restarting the Zabbix agent. So for those that are not familiar, Zabbix is a sort of a log collector, a system monitoring that you can install. Maybe some of you are familiar with Zabbix. You can use that within your environment and then have some form of integration with Remote Desktop Manager, as you will see today. So from here, I can just execute that script, select one of my sessions here, which is endpoint 01. I can click on select, and then we see that script running within the context of Remote Desktop Manager against the session here. So this is my remote system, showcase-win1.ad.windjammer.co. That's the system where I ran the script against.
Yep. Now, where did you find that script dashboard for the folks? Because I think it popped up.
Yeah, it's in the Tools tab.
Yeah, right there. So
Tools tab, very important. Tools tab, accessible from here, script dashboard. And you see another multitude of other scripts that we have, and which brings me to our built-in PowerShell module. So there is a possibility to do a lot of PowerShell and RDM, but it's very session specific, very endpoint specific. The PowerShell RDM commandlet module is centered around automating parts of Remote Desktop Manager. So I can think of creating entries, modifying entries, which is basically batch editing. We'll see that in a few moments. Batch editing, something also very important. But the PowerShell module really is designed to do all of this. And you can even run Remote Desktop Manager, if you will, with PowerShell instead of a graphical user interface. Some of you may be tech savvy out here and prefer a GUI-less experience. So the PowerShell module available on PS Gallery. You can download the Devolutions PowerShell module on PS Gallery and just operate sections of Remote Desktop Manager using PowerShell. So yeah, coming back to also another piece here of automation is the batch editing.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So we have, again, within Remote Desktop Manager on my screen here, we have several entries in the list that we can just multi-select from here. And then I can go in the Edit tab, click on Batch Edit, and then do editing saved credentials. That's one option. So if I wanted to switch all of these to inherited, I could, for the sake of inheritance, taking them from the folder level. And then I have edit entries, general settings. And from here, I could say, well, I want to modify that value to display different colors, or I want the same color, for example, for all of these entries. I can do override and change the settings from here for that purpose.
Very cool. That's another option that's great, because how many times you have to do the same action on multiple devices? So not just broadcasting, not just PowerShell, commandlets. We've got ways for you to organize and run things more efficiently, especially. So one of the things we want to, I guess a tool we'd call maybe more external. We looked at RDP, SSH, different sessions, but we have something called the Devolutions Workspace browser extension, because RDM Free is a great place for you to also store, since you're managing IT resources, store your secure passwords for websites as well and logins. So Did you want to show that real quick, the browser extension on how it works?
Yeah, so our browser extension, Devolutions Workspace browser extension, that's the full name, works across all browsers, and it does like all the other browser extensions for credential injection. It's the same principle.
But the way it works here is it links to RDM directly.
It links to RDM, and it gives you a way to just have something very powerful when it comes to logging in on web applications. This is one of our examples here. We have an intranet site with the autofill-in mechanism enabled in it. So here I can just launch. It opens in Edge, for example, because the browser extension is available. Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, of course, Firefox, Opera, all of the major browsers, even the one that allows for the Chrome Web Store, it should work there. So I can think of Vivaldi, Brave as well. Not to mention all the other browsers that have been added in recent years.
Safari as well, too, for Mac, by the way.
Safari as well for Mac. It also exists there, so we can do injection for the Safari browser. And then here on our site for credentials, for multiple credentials for the same site, we can just select it in our extension icon next to login fields. I can just click on this, it then autofills, and then I can click on login. So this is our example of showing that the injection just works seamlessly. We have options that says, you know, on opening a session, automatically fill in the credentials and then automatically submit the form. So that's another part where you can say, this is a one-click action. I don't have to do what we did on our screen today. This was just to show you that you can and it works, but you can have it automatically done so that you don't even have to think about it. It just gets you in and it works. It just works. That's the power of RDM. And to show you the browser extension itself, in our extension menu, if we can showcase on our screen here, and here we see Devolutions Workspace. This is what it looks like. This is the main interface. For this site, we will display the tool logins that are basically associated with that session. And then I can click on the login itself. I'll just go back to the login page here. I can click on the login here, and then it automatically fills in.
Great. And so those were entries that were stored, website entries inside your
credentials
RDM
inside RDM.
Yeah, and then you can even create them.
Yeah, you can even create them.
Yeah.
Because this is another possibility, right? It exists in Remote Desktop Manager. I can actually create web sessions within the app. But it's, you know, when it comes to the filling of credentials, these are the ones that are stored here. We have the URL, and then you've got the login and options to just make sure that this automatically goes against the website, because these are our mechanisms to detect the fields and just make sure that we do the injection properly, because there is no standard when it comes to websites.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've designed these controls, we've designed these mechanisms to make sure that the injection can work. Not to say 100%, because that would be perfection. Perfection doesn't exist. But
we're doing our best.
It does best. So 99.99% success when it comes to the browser extension. One last powerful, because again, there was so much more. And again, time is flying here. But I want to show this because this is very powerful. It's been there for a very long time. So if we go back to my screen here, this is what we call a playlist. What does the playlist do? It launches all of the connections that I opened manually myself. Not all of them, but several of them that I selected. I can just click here, click on Open Selection, and then it's a playlist. Opens all the sessions automatically for me, and then I can execute scripts. I know Adam posted in the chat that you can just do events, so I could execute scripts at the same time. It puts everything basically on autopilot. That's our autopilot type of entry. It opens everything, executes everything that we want it to operate.
That's awesome. So playlists, really not just for Spotify, but for RDM as well. Now, I know some folks also mention ARD. Really quick, can you just launch a quick ARD?
Yeah, Apple Remote Desktop. And this is interesting because this is reverse engineered. So we worked hard to display the Apple Remote Desktop protocol. It's the RFC extensions behind it. So it's not as powerful as others, but it works. It works within Remote Desktop Manager. It has all the options here. We could show you more when it comes to that specifically. It takes a few moments here, or actually was that one down? That's
the one that fell asleep.
Yeah, it's the demo gods. Eh?
Yeah.
But I think I chose the wrong one because I have a few here. I think that's the right one. But it's like VNC or RDP. It's pretty much the same thing, but it launches the Apple Remote Desktop Protocol. Yeah, I don't think they're working, unfortunately. They were working yesterday.
It's too early.
So it's too early in the morning for us, and they don't like me.
It's okay.
I should have taken coffee.
It's okay. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
we also talked about earlier that, so we showed you a bunch of things on RDM free.
Yeah.
Now, like I was an RDC man user for years.
Yeah.
And I loved it. It was a great tool. It still is. But how does it stack against the competition? Like, what are we offering that's maybe different? Obviously, I think it speaks for itself by looking at it. Some of you might say, take my money right now, but the thing is it's free, so we can't take your money for this. You know?
No.
But if you want to, let's show that slide real quick. If you could just go over it really quick about what we offer versus some of the modern tools that we use.
So here, this is a slide that we made, and this is available on our website, by the way. For the free homepage of Remote Desktop Manager, this is where you'll find this grid. And we wanted to really show where Remote Desktop Manager becomes an app that really shines amongst the rest. This is not about throwing alternatives under the bus.
No.
It's really not about that. It's really just showcasing these limitations exist, but Remote Desktop Manager can go beyond these limitations for these other products. So of course, pricing, the vast majority of them are free, like us. But you've got Rocket Remote Desktop that doesn't have a free edition. You have Secure CRT as well. That's not free. You've got Termius as well. That's not free. It's a sign up. You have to basically pay. There is no free edition. The rest is free. And then we come into all the functions. Yeah. RDP, folders, credentials, they're all covered. Everybody covers that.
Absolutely.
But then we go into something that's more specific. We've got more protocols here. Not everybody does all the protocols. So we see RDC Man, that's the Microsoft sysinternal tools, does only RDP. Then you've got RD tabs, only RDP as well. You have the cross-platform client. Pretty much not everybody does it. You see Royal TS, Secure CRT, and Termius, but Remote Desktop Manager, again, runs everywhere. Metadata, tags, images, colors, etc. That's what we saw earlier. Remote Desktop Manager pretty much stands out amongst the crowd, although some do it as well, as we can see. And then you have RDP versions. RDP is, again, the most widely used remote desktop protocol in the world. But there are, for reasons unknown, known issues within the RDP protocol that haven't been unresolved by Microsoft, so they're still there. And what we've done in Remote Desktop Manager in terms of innovation is that we've implemented different engines of RDP. Free RDP, the one being that's been there for a very long time. It's a open source implementation of the Remote Desktop protocol that our lead engineer and CTO, Marc-Andre Moreau, developed, or at least participated, rather, I should say, heavily in the development of. So that's one different engine. And then you've got Iron RDP. That's also a different engine that you can use in Remote Desktop Manager that offers a much more powerful alternative to Microsoft Remote Desktop. So if you have issues with RDP, and some of them are unfortunately known to the Microsoft ActiveX component, these additional engines could potentially offer a brighter side and potentially fix these issues. So that's the level of innovation that we've achieved with Remote Desktop Manager. And then the metadata encryption, the advanced security measures that exist that others unfortunately cannot offer. Remote Desktop Manager offers it built in.
Absolutely. That's great. So just to recap here, at the end, we showed you all the various features, and some of you have already commented on the things that you already liked and things that you're like, I wasn't aware of this, because we know some of you folks have actually used it before and some are interested in it right now. So definitely we highly encourage you. First step, go to devolutions.net
Yeah.
and download it for free and try it out for yourself. That is the absolute best thing that you can all do. Now, really quickly, I don't want to take too much time for this because we're running out of time here. And the only thing I wanted to cover really quick was, you know, when is RDM free not enough? Meaning at the end, like you're a solo user, when would be time to upgrade? And the only thing that we can really suggest is, you know, obviously if you need to share a data source with team members, you want role-based access control. So you're having multiple users or groups and so forth. You want some more advanced auditing and logs. That would be a time that you'd want to maybe upgrade to the next version. And you want to integrate one of our, what we call data sources. So a self-hosted Devolution server or a cloud-based hub, which would give you the different things like PAM and privilege access management for those that are interested in that as well. But like I said, we'll give you the slides. So if you want to look more into what are the differences, and we have some comparisons on our website as well. But I didn't want to take too much time for that because this focus was on free. But you saw everything that it comes with already today. So let's finish with some of the free, just the highlights from today.
It's again free for personal, professional, standalone use. There is no hidden fees. Again, I can't stress that enough. It is a free solution. Local SQLite database by default. No synchronization, but cloud options exist, either with Devolutions Hub Personal, or you can create an XML file and it will go in Dropbox, OneDrive as an option available to you. No time limit or entry restrictions again. Supports imports from other tools like the competitors that we saw earlier, the alternatives rather, I should say. There are import options for all of them. So MOBA Xterm, mRemote NG, there is an option for a Rocket Remote Desktop, Role TS as well. RDC Man, if you use these products, you can bring them in to Remote Desktop Manager, and it will just rebuild your structure. So you don't have to start from scratch. You're ready to start working. It's a turnkey import or close to it. And secure with encryption. Advanced features would require the team edition, but I would say for a solo users, the ones that we provide are powerful enough, of course. Multi-platform, again, runs everywhere, ARM CPUs included, and it's seamless to upgrade to the team edition without data loss. You don't lose anything. It's the same app. You just upgrade to the team with a team edition license.
Okay, so I think that wraps everything up. So on the screen right now, you'll see a slide, something called the Devolutions Force. What is the Devolutions Force, Mark?
The Devolutions Force is our advocacy platform where you'll be able to interact with our community, growing and expanding community of fans, users, longtime users of Remote Desktop Manager. There will be challenges for you to complete. You'll have points that you can redeem, and you can even redeem some Merc with the points that you can gather on the Devolutions Force. So this is a fun space to talk with other people, even talk with us at times, and even interact, and perhaps even get to, at some point, some insider builds, maybe we'll see in the future of Remote Desktop Manager, things for you to try and tell us what you think of our exploration and our experimentations. But that may be the future.
Somebody did ask, is there another webinar coming up? And there is. So if you put on the screen here for me, Nick, one that's going to be interesting. Everybody is talking about artificial intelligence.
MCP.
And now MCP in action. So we have some of our experts. Marc-André Brault is going to be there. Maxime Forêt. And they're going to be talking about how RDM can bring AI, secure IT operations. And that's going to be coming up in just a week or two. So you want to go ahead and you can scan that QR code, or you can go to our website and devolutions.net and hit on events, and you'll see the link there where you can sign up for another webinar just like this one. Thanks once again. And we appreciate all that you are doing, and let us know how we can help you. Download RDM free and try it for yourself if you haven't done so far. Okay. Well, thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Time to go back to bed. And we hope you have a great day, all of you. Okay. Thank you.